All right, gentlemen. Back again, looking at what our plan is coming forward with our next session 3. So preseason's flying by. Um, Focusing on this session on our unbalanced phase. So that's that part of the field. As we've talked about, it's just more of a visual, but it's we've advanced. We've built past that first line of pressure. We're out of the build. Now we're looking to penetrate and move into that creation phase where we score goals. So session objectives. First one is we want to improve our ability to unbalance. That's just another word for disorganized, get them stretched, ruin their compactness. So we're unbalancing through our quick ball movement and then good positioning. And that is almost the positioning kind of feeds into the quick ball circulation. Good positioning makes it easier to have quick ball circulation. So high ball speed, making it really tough for them to stay organized, stay tight. And then our positioning behind and between lines of pressure so that we can reach the key space. And we'll talk about what does that mean, key space. And then the second one we're looking at is always the transitional piece of it. So improve our team's response. So we're going to be a possession base. We want to really dominate the ball. We've got to be good when we turn it over. So we turn the ball over. Can our nearest players immediately press to disrupt their ability to get forward? And then everyone else backing in, get a tight shape, and regain our defensive organization if we're not able to win the ball back immediately. So a visual for behind and between. Ajax in a 4-2-3-1 a few years ago. You can see where the players are positioned. This session, we're looking at this zone of the field. So if you look at, it's tough to tell from the angle, but the players are behind lines of pressure and they're between defenders. So behind means that the line can't see where you're at, so you're on their blind side. And between means sometimes one player can occupy two. So that little bit of disorienting feature of that, knowing who picks up whom and all that confusion that can create gives us a bit of an advantage. So exercise 1, little technical activation before we head to this. So we'll start off with exercise 2 being a 5v5 plus 3. As you can see, there won't be 3 zones laid out, but you can see how this exercise connects to what we're doing. Again, focusing on this unbalancing piece of that space. So what's our behavior of our 6 and that neutral player to get us facing forward? So we'll build into it. We'll go from possession, building into the value, into the targets, and eventually we'll have a finishing piece to it. All right, so then our next exercise is a bigger version of that. So looking at that first phase of the build, so in the example, the Grays are going to look to circulate and move the ball with good positioning to penetrate that line of 3 defenders, so screening defenders moving side to side. Once we're able to get into that front 5 players, can we find a player facing forward who can penetrate that back 4 on the ground with a pass or on the dribble? And then once we're able to break that back 4, we're free to attack and score goals. So we'll get to the more details. But again, it's back to this idea of we're in our build phase. We split, we penetrate that screening line of 3, and now we increase our rhythm once we get a player facing forward and we attack. So back to that key space. We're really focusing on that space between the midfield line and their back line. How do we get into that space facing forward? Should be another challenging session. So make sure that we see this, we take it in, and then we're ready to go from the start so we can make the best use of our time.